I am back. My dad was calling. Anyway, where was I? Snacks and drinks. Anyway, so we do have ice chests that we can grab and throw ice, and we have an ice machine at the station. Basically, this kind of helps you if you're on for a long period of time, you don't get to eat, because a lot of the time we get called out in the middle of dinner. You know, never fails Thanksgiving dinner, we get called out to a fire. Just every year. There's 3-4 years in a row where my family didn't get to sit and eat Thanksgiving dinner together because we got called out to something. So, keep snacks with you, especially if you're hypoglycemic. My blood sugar does drop, or if you have an iron deficiency, you can keep something that has a little iron in it, just to kind of give you a boost, because you're working a lot, and it's exhausting, and this goes for anybody. My whole department carries it. Another thing, as far as medical conditions like asthma or anemia or things like that, specifically, I say specifically, more if you are a female with anemia, which is more common, then having something with some kind of level of iron in it, or hypoglycemic like I am, keeping something with a little bit of sugar or some protein like beef jerky sticks, it'll at least prolong you enough that you don't pass out in the middle of the fire, because then you get mocked. But as far as medications, I am asthmatic, I will tell you that much. So I will carry a spare rescue inhaler with me. I have one in my pocket, but I have a couple of them laying around that I'll keep with my gear, so if there's a chance that we wake up in the middle of the night and I don't put on my normal packed and ready to go pants, I will still have my inhaler if I need it. And with that goes, if you do have anemia or some other kind of mineral iron, deficiency, or, whatever it is, you can keep a little bitty pill container and keep a couple of those pills or whatever you need in your pocket, or, somewhere where it's accessible. And with my department, if we do have some kind of medical condition, our rehab team will have a list of it, just so if something happens to you, they're going to be the ones taking you off the line back to the station, or even calling for an ambulance if something goes really bad. So somebody there will have kind of a list of what to look out for. So like me, asthmatic and hypoglycemic, if something were to happen to me where I passed out or had an asthma attack, they would already know. I also have an EpiPen, because like I said, I'm randomly allergic to peanuts. I don't know where. I have a lot of environmental allergies, which you would think, why the heck are you a firefighter if you're allergic to stuff and you're asthmatic? Shh. I do the job. I take care of myself. I know my limits. So that's just kind of something to keep in mind. Keep that stuff with you if you can. That way, you're not scrambling for it, because you do not have a purse. Typically, being a girl, you'd have a purse, right? I'm not trying to be, excluding people, but typically you'd have a purse or a backpack or something that you carry stuff. We're girls, we carry everything with us majority of the time. Mine just happens to be in my pockets instead of a purse. I learned that the hard way. That was something that when I first joined 3 years ago, it was like, oh, how the heck am I going to do this? Where am I going to put all this stuff? I discovered cargo pants, and they're the best thing ever. So yeah, just kind of keep your necessities, the things that are specific to you, with you. That way, even if the department had an EpiPen, or, there was an IMSA crew on, IMSA, that's our medical providers, if they did have the medication you needed, if you had it on you, it's there with you. You don't have to wait for it. Moving on to just watch your back, okay? For a million reasons, all right? This can either mean, on the fire, it can mean in a medical, it can mean anywhere. And it's not just watch your back for creepy people. There's also crazy people, and even just general hazards. I've almost been run over on MVAs tons of times. A semi almost squished me. I was standing within my cones by my engine, directing traffic. This semi just blew by, speeding past the entire accident. No regard for anybody around. I was wearing the correct PPE, I had my vest on, I had my helmet on. This guy almost smoked me. Okay, so just watch your back as far as that goes. There are tons of hazards that can happen with a fire. There's so many things that can go wrong on a fire. This goes for anybody. Watch yourself, watch your crew. As far as creepy people go, I use the term creepy as in, those who would be more prone to sexually assaulting you because you're a female, as the fire department, the fire service is male dominated, and you come in as some young girl who's really pretty, or even, just whatever, if they're the kind of person that would hurt you, you want to make sure you watch out for that. Watch their body language, make sure if you're uncomfortable with somebody, you can speak up. If they touch you in any way, because I've had this happen on my department, I've had this happen outside of the department where I would get touched inappropriately, or I get spoken to inappropriately, and it just made me generally uncomfortable. And instead of saying something at the time, I kind of didn't until it got too bad, and then it kind of blew up. So to save yourself from that harm, if something isn't fitting right, or if you're uncomfortable, or someone does something to you that they shouldn't, say something. You're not going to be shamed in most circumstances. If you have a close friend, guy or girl in the department that you do trust, or even an officer, because I have officers that I trust more than kind of the general population. So if there's a specific person that you trust, go to them, tell them, hey, this happened. Be honest though. Don't make it any worse or any less than it is. Tell them exactly what happened, how it happened, when it happened. The faster you get that information out there, the quicker you can protect yourself, because it's a dangerous world. And as far as crazy people, I mean like crazy. And I'm not dishing on anybody who has a mental or psychological disorder. My brother ran a patient who was demon possessed. Literally demon possessed, talking in different voices, screaming, threatening to kill everybody. And a funny thing is, I say funny, when they got to the hospital or back to the station, they had to check mileage, and it was 666. And so they're just kind of like, no thank you. Watch out for those people. Watch your back. Watch your crew. I suggest learning some kind of self-defense. This kind of goes on with watching your six. Learn some kind of self-defense, whether it's how to use a knife, how to get out of a chokehold. I'm a martial artist, so I know self-defense. I also have training in firearms. My dad is a firearms dealer. I say dealer. This kind of sounds bad, but he builds and sells firearms. So I grew up around guns, I grew up around knives, I grew up around all that stuff, and I'm a martial artist, so I can protect myself, I can protect other people. I would not use lethal force unless it was absolutely necessary. Always try to talk somebody down before using lethal force, and if you need help, ask for help. With the fire service comes a lot of deranged humor. It's everywhere, especially among the guys. There's no filter. And even with girls, my family's kind of nuts. I have a lot of siblings. I have 5 of them, 3 girls, 3 boys. It's a mix. But the humor, especially since being in the fire service, has gotten ridiculous. Don't get offended by it. If they crack some joke, it's kind of like, okay, whatever. Brush it off. Move on. They probably didn't mean it personally. Now, if they're coming up to you and insulting you, like actually physically, like, they say something that's just completely uncalled for, then you can kind of call a staff and say, hey, I didn't like that, or this made me feel this way or that. Don't take it so personally that you just have a mental breakdown, because then everybody's going to think you're just some whiny person. But if they do say something that really does offend you, go to that person, say, hey, you said this kind of hurt my feelings, or this offended me in some way or other. And if they don't listen and they continue it, then you can take it on to somebody else. But always go to the person first and try to explain and let them explain what happened. And that's how I was raised. Quite honestly, with the humor, if you are getting chewed on, especially as a rookie and as a female, learn to have a quick wit and get them back, okay? I'm not saying in some kind of malicious way. I'm saying if they crack some joke about you, about something that you messed up or broke at the station, say something, remind them of something they did. Because I have guys on my estate, they crack jokes about, the rescue I rolled into with my personal vehicle, and I kind of remind my officer that he took out a wall with the truck. So it's all fun and games. No one's meant to get hurt. Keep it within the realm of joking and not as a personal attack. As far as after calls, find something to relieve your stress, because this job is insane, and normal people don't do this. Normal people don't see a fire or an explosion or somebody dying and be like, yeah, I'm gonna go toward that. No, we're nuts, okay? And with some of the stuff that we see, we need some kind of release. So for me personally, I'm in martial arts. I draw. I'm an artist. I write, especially diaries or journals are kind of frowned upon. Like, oh, you're a middle school, you have a diary. No. If it's something that you need to talk about or you want to get out of your system, but you don't have someone to talk to, write it down. Okay? Write it down, talk it out to yourself, whatever you want to do. But if you don't want to talk to somebody or you don't have somebody to trust, write it down. You don't have to keep it. You don't have to show anybody. You don't have to tell anybody. You can always burn it. Why not burn it? You know how to fight fire. You know how to start fire. I keep a journal. I write down calls if they bother me, or just general things that annoyed me or that I was excited about. Kind of give yourself something to release. And if you do have someone to talk to them. No shame in that. You can also find something along the lines of, if you like yoga, do yoga. If you like kicking butt in martial arts, kick butt in martial arts. If you like running or, gymnastics or, playing the piano or baking, do something after the call or after your shift to relax. Do it for yourself, to give yourself time to distress and, kind of let go of the disaster you just witnessed. My paper's all mixed up. So, along with that, there's no shame in talking to somebody. Okay, I've personally dealt with PTSD. My brother has. I've dealt with eating disorders and depression and anxiety, throughout my life, and it wasn't until I got to the point where I wanted to commit suicide that I actually said something, and I wish I would have done something to take care of it sooner, because now I'm still dealing with this, the after effects of being anorexic, and it's not fun, okay? There's no reason to hurt yourself like that. I have learned the hard way to take care of myself, and like I said, going along with, doing something that relaxes you, just take care of yourself, okay? Make sure you wash your face, take a shower, get out of bed, go to bed on time, wear comfy pajamas, have a movie night, don't necessarily eat a bunch of garbage, eat a real meal. This is one thing that I definitely hound my little sister on, and other people that I know have issues eating. If you're stressed, and you find yourself wanting to, skip meals, or you don't have time, or I'm tired, eat your meals like you're supposed to, like a big girl, okay? And if you need help, if you want to talk to me, I get to the point sometimes where I'm stressed enough where I skip meals, or I just don't feel like eating, or something made me too sick, because after some calls you're nauseous from what you saw. You don't want to eat. That's okay, but later on, make sure you eat something that is wholesome, okay? Not crackers, not chocolate, even though chocolate's good. There's always a place for it. Make sure you eat something decent at some point throughout the day. Excuse me, my throat is dry. But along with that, talk to somebody if you need it. Okay, if you need to go to therapy, or you need to go to some kind of, group meeting, or you can find groups and support everywhere. It's out there. Some places you might have to look a little harder, but there are support groups specifically for firefighters. But sometimes you may not want to be, not want to go from a fire department environment to another fire department environment. Sometimes you want to go something completely opposite. Have your friends that are outside of the fire department, that have nothing tied to it, go out with them. Go eat dinner, go do something fun, bowling, dancing, karaoke, whatever you want to do. Do something to kind of get what you just went through off your mind. There's no shame in it. I go out with my friend, we go get lunch, or we study, or we do something fun, we go to the movies. And sometimes you really need that. I do that with my little sister too. We'll sit in the room and we'll just watch a movie on, Disney Plus or something, and we'll eat popcorn and we'll talk about our lives. That's just take care of yourself. Coming from somebody who didn't for a long time, take care of yourself. One thing that you need to keep in mind is you only answer for yourself, for your actions. You don't answer for anybody else's actions. If they make a mistake, that's on them. Don't get involved in something that you aren't meant to get involved in. This is something I have a problem with. I always have. I'm an opinionated person. If my siblings are fighting about something, I often butt in and get involved, and I shouldn't. It usually ends up getting me yelled at too. Don't get involved in gossip. Don't get involved in degrading other people. Don't be a cyberbullier. I've met people on fire groups meant to encourage each other who are completely degrading. Social media is a nightmare. It is a place where nightmares are made. It's miserable. There's a lot of good. You can find a lot of people. I've met a lot of people that I really like on social media, but it's definitely a place where you can get your feelings hurt because people feel like they can say whatever and they don't have to say it to your face. And when they don't have to say it to your face, crap comes out of their mouth. Don't take that personally. That's them projecting their problems onto you. Don't take it personally. Move on. Block the person if you have to. That's what my mom always says. If you find someone that's, being a butt, block them. Move on with your life. Don't be that person. Don't be the one hurting others to deal with your own problems. That's not right. Do what you know is right. Do your job. Be kind. Move on with your life. I deal with a lot of people who treat me like garbage. My whole life has been a series of people stabbing me in the back, and it has caused a lot of problems. I have a lot of social anxiety because of it. And I'm not afraid to say that anymore, because you can say all you want about me. I can push you aside and move on. I know who I am. I know what I'm doing. I do it for the reasons that you don't necessarily need to know about. Okay? Just because you don't like me or you don't like somebody doesn't mean you need to be rude about it. Move on with your life. Be an adult. And last but not least, you got this. You got it. Take care of yourself. Follow the other examples. And just be yourself, okay? Be a good person. I say good person kind of lightly. Some people, be as good as you can. Be nice to others, okay? There's no need to be rude. I know a lot of people who get very salty in the fire department because they've seen a lot. You can be mentally and physically hurt from what we see because we see the worst in everybody. But at the end of the day, it's a choice. Whether you're going to get up and do what's right or you're going to get up and be an a-hole. That's as plain and simple as it is. I do the same job as a lot of people, and even in my own family, it's a choice. It is. It ultimately is a choice whether you're going to use your bad experiences for good or use them to be rude and hurtful to other people. So, go out there, save the world, be a kind person, be nice.